Version number 1, the setup.
See, my story is just another reason I'm so mad. Robbie has spent half his life in prison for a mistake, and like someone else told. He'd go up for parole in 2025. He'd be home around Thanksgiving that same year.
It's not your story, and the only lies being told have come from you.
His cousin was in the house alone sleeping when Robbie walked in the side door.
Liar! He crawled in through an unlocked window. His wife was awakened by the attack and ran to get help.
His wife called and woke him up saying someone was breaking in.
There was no phone call. The phone had been disabled.
That's when his cousin entered the kitchen in the dark and attacked Robbie with a baseball bat.
Again, it was a child's foam Nerf bat which weighs 7 ounces. A far difference from a baseball bat which weighs 35. 6 times heavier.
Neither knew who the other was.
Genevieve knew it was Robert because she screamed for him to stop by his name. He knew who Genevieve was. He not only told a coworker he wanted to get rid of her, he wrote it down in the plan of action letter he left behind.
His cousin assumed Robbie was a robber, and Robbie thought, because he was being attacked, he had went into the wrong house, because he was that drunk.
He confessed he was there to kidnap his wife.
She knew it was Robbie. She figured the cousin would beat him up, which she felt was revenge for kicking her out earlier that day.
Robert's wife fled in November after an unsuccessful attempt to kidnap and attack his wife at her place of employment. Robert had broken into her house the day after Thanksgiving, where he attempted to attack them both with a knife. The report for that attack was finalized just hours before the murder.
I spoke with her in October. I told her that her setup and caused him his life, as well as she took our daughter's dad from her. She admitted to me that she lied to police.
Liar. She has not seen, spoken, or had to think of you since 1995. She didn't even know you were that hard-pressed that your daughter was Robert's. There are consequences for slandering and using scare tactics on a victim.
Harassment of victims and witnesses after a trial refers to the act of a defendant or their associates continuing to intimidate, threaten, or harass, which includes public humiliation, spreading rumors, making false accusations about the victim. In a criminal case, even after the trial has concluded, which is a serious legal federal offense and can result in additional charges against the perpetrator, a parole or probation revocation, arrest or seeking the arrest of another person in connection with this federal offense. Attempts to do so shall be fined under this title or imprisonment, up to 3 years or both. Version number 2, self-defense.
All the lights out. Robbie was smashed over the head by a metal bat.
At the foot of the bed, investigators observed a light blue Nerf-type bat.
Thinking he entered the wrong house, he went into self-defense mode. He grabbed whatever was in the sink, a potato peeler, and stabbed his attacker 3 times.
The bloodstains in the center of the bedroom also had smear marks, which appeared to be drag marks leading from the center of the bedroom towards the door leading to the kitchen. Investigators also observed laying on the floor 2 bloodstained knife blades which have been broken off at the handles, and both blades were bent. A third bloodstained knife which had been broken off at the handle was observed laying the bed near the foot end. A fourth bloodstained knife, a dinner knife, was observed laying on the floor of the bedroom near the clothes closet.
His wife screamed. He told her she set him up and will tell the police. He then called 911 and waited for the police.
Gomez stated that he was asleep when Robert's wife had awakened him and had told him that Robert had broken into Jenny's house. Gomez's wife stated that she had heard a girl's voice in the house, and when she went to check, she saw Robert's wife on the phone calling the law.
Eyewitness accounts.
Mr. Gomez went to the Finn residence and observed Robert fleeing out the back, and Robert began chasing Mr. Gomez. Mr. Gomez stated that Robert chased him back to his residence where they struggled. He saw Robert crawled under his truck but fled when Deputy Irwin arrived. Mrs. Gomez saw her husband running back to their residence and that Robert was chasing her husband. After a struggle, Robert went and hid by the pickup. Mrs. Gomez stated that Robert ran when Deputy Irwin showed up. Robert's wife stated she saw Robert chasing Mr. Gomez back from the Finn residence after Mr. Gomez had gone to the Finn residence to aid Genevieve. She also stated that she saw Robert hiding by a vehicle and then ran from Deputy Irwin when he first arrived. Gomez J. witnessed part of the struggle at the residence and witnessed Robert flee as Deputy Irwin showed up. Collins, a passenger in the patrol vehicle, observed the suspect flee from Deputy Irwin and also witnessed Deputy Irwin chasing the subject.
He was charged with manslaughter.
Robert Hernandez Jr. was charged with capital murder on December 1, 1996 at 1:54 a.m. The evidence was overwhelming. No lesser charge was ever given.
She told detectives Robbie tried kidnapping her, turning it from manslaughter to capital.
Robert indicated to investigators that he had gone to the Finn residence for the purpose of kidnapping his wife. Deputy Schumann examined and removed items from the red backpack, which had been discarded by Hernandez moments prior to his arrest. Schumann found various items to be consistent with a plan to kidnap a person, the handwritten letters, and then items that could be used to restrain a person.
He sat 2 years in county fighting the capital murder charge, until his public defender told him he either signs the plea deal for capital murder or he will get the death penalty.
The public defender gave him the best possible advice due to the mountain of evidence, suggesting the public defender was incompetent, and that this was somehow forced is absurd.
I said one thing that the family told me. Now I'm a liar because it's not what the police report said.
Frauditer Report, aka Tara's third version. In an attempt to justify her alleged husband's crime, she made a story that the victim had a daughter that was being SA'd, and that he committed this brutal assault and murder due to blinding rage he felt for a child SA victim. Facts. Not only was there zero abuse, the victim did not have a daughter. Tara Reaper made up this version in an effort to make her husband look like a hero and justify his crimes for the assault and murder of young, petite, 20-year-old mother of 2. This not only degrades the victims, but it attempts to revoke the trauma of SA victims as whole. Only a woman blinded by delusional and obsession could create such a tasteless and vile lie. Making up such a story can take away the credibility of future SA victims. Something she knows but could care less about. Shame on you, Tara.
Plus, there's been no record about that happening.
I swore not to say anything, but wanted to tell you. I try not to reveal too many secrets.
It just sounds like an excuse to try and justify it.
I'm not sure how CPS worked in 1996, or if it would be in the system since it was only a complaint that never was looked into because a week later the accused was dead. I try not to believe Robbie would lie about SA and children. He's not that kind of person.
I'm not saying the abuse didn't happen, but it's wrong to use that abuse to justify the murder.
This is one reason I didn't say anything. I didn't want you to think I'm making excuses, because I'm not. It's added info, and nothing more. Regardless of anything, what Robbie did was wrong.
But it's not added info. What happened to the self-defense? If that is true, that's what caused the rage. Why didn't he ever mention that to the cops?
Haven't spoken to his dad about that. I don't know shit, I wasn't there.
That's right, you weren't. And it's what you should have been saying all along. But instead you let the crazy step in and rattled off some psychobabble bullshit about a setup, self-defense, and even made up an imaginary daughter that was SA'd. You crazy bitch.
What happened to the self-defense story? Why are you still trying to blame the ex-wife? You saw the reports, you saw that he gave a written statement, meaning to everything, including the plan to kidnap, rape, and kill his ex. I'm sorry, it just sounds like a made-up story to try and justify the murders while still blaming the ex-wife. I don't want stories that can't be proved. He admitted to everything. How are you just going to ignore all of the reports and evidence and continue to blame the ex? I hate that it's as bad as it is, but you're going to have to face the fact and stop blaming the ex. I'm sorry, but I don't accept the story of this rage against Genevieve. After everything that's been said, all of a sudden, there's a story that pops up saying he had raged because of her abusing her daughter. It doesn't add up.
I have.
No, you have not. You are still blaming the ex. As long as you continue to blame the ex, that shows that you have not accepted the facts. Are you going to even acknowledge my last text? Experience, I have always stood by you and supported you as a friend, so I deserved the truth.
Please leave a message after the tone.